This video is all about consciousness. Specifically, we're going to reconcile what is probably the greatest paradox in the world of consciousness right here on this video. My name is Brent Phillips. I am the founder and creator of the Awakening Dynamic System of Energy Healing and Higher Consciousness. And this is video number 8 of 9 in our series on consciousness. In this video, we're going to aim directly at what I think is the biggest paradox in the world of consciousness. And it's this: how do we reconcile the victor and the vehicle? Or, to elaborate a little more, how do we take so many of the teachings we've seen from the world of self-empowerment, the law of attraction, self-improvement, that tell us that you have to take accountability for every part of your life, that you have to be responsible for everything that happens in your life, and that you recognize that you are the source of your life? That sounds like a pretty victor-centric set of teachings. It does. On the other hand, we have a lot of teachings from the world of advanced spirituality, Advaita Vedanta, or non-duality. Many great teachers and authors like Michael Singer telling us that we have to let go, that we have to surrender, that we have to live as a vessel of a higher power. Now, that sounds like the vehicle now, doesn't it? And on the surface, it's hard to reconcile them. Because you're like, hey, wait a second. You got these people telling me that I have to be responsible for everything that happens in my life, that I'm the source of my life, that it's all about what's happening on the inside, reflected on the outside. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But I got these other people saying, no, we have to let go. We have to allow. We have to let life flow through us, rather than just madly running around and making it all happen. It's a big paradox, isn't it? Now, the good news is I have the resolution, and I'm going to lay it out for you right here in this video. So I want to quickly touch on a few things we mentioned earlier in the series because they're really important foundations for reaching our conclusion. So here we go. Number 1, in the last couple of videos, we talked about the concept of graduation. And I want to emphasize that because that's really important to reconcile the victor with the vehicle, to reconcile non-duality with the law of attraction, however we want to put that. And remember that when we are a victor, life is all about being stronger, faster, smarter, more efficient, making money, developing a reputation, all that cool stuff. As we graduate to become the vehicle, the last and longest journey of human consciousness, we don't stop being a victor. No, we continue becoming a better and better victor. We learn new things. We make money. We make friends. We create a legacy. We own things. Yes, that never stops. So the victor vehicle is very different than the victim victor, because for the most part, when we ascend from the victim to the victor, we're letting go of the old behavior. Sure, it crops up now and then through what we call the residue, and a lot of the metaphysical work, block clearing, movement, things like that is designed to clear the residue. But if you're deep into the victor stage, you're not going to go backwards and reintegrate all these old teachings from the victim that it's not you, it's someone outside of you. No, no, no. It's really moving away from it, letting go of it forever. So the victim victor is simpler in that sense. We're letting go of the old and embracing the new. The victor vehicle transition is fundamentally different. As the vehicle, we're not letting go of our victor skill. It's not being replaced with anything. It's staying there and building and growing. It's just the spotlight comes off of it. It's more that being a better victor no longer becomes our highest top priority. It's happening on the back burner in the background. Instead, we're focusing more on the inner journey. Not just how much money do I have, but how does the amount of money I have or don't have, how is that affecting me? What is the meaning I'm giving it? What are the various myths and stories that are coming up in me, starting to activate and run my life around money? That's what the vehicle asks. So to emphasize, when you become a vehicle, you're not letting go of the victor skills. You're not stopping with them. It just keeps running in the background. And so when you become a vehicle, you don't have to give away your money or leave your family or quit your job. I mean, you might do those things. There are cases where that might be the path forward. But for the most part, you are still the same you. For the most part, you got the same health, you got the same job, the same family, the same home, the same pets. the same mindset for the most part. The difference is that now our journey is about letting go, about releasing the agenda of the ego, the samskaras, the blocks, the traumas, the trapped emotions, however we want to call that. Recognizing that if we can surrender and become a vessel of a higher power, then we can really get the thing we thought the victor skills were going to bring us, right? We all thought that, if I can just make enough money or have enough health or enough love or whatever, that everything will be okay on the inside. The vehicle recognizes that's a lure. It's an illusion. So we do not let go of the victor. It keeps developing and building. That never stops. But as the vehicle, our focus shifts. Makes sense? Cool. So vehicles are not weenies. They don't just give you something because you demand it. I mean, they might in some circumstances, but it doesn't mean you're giving up your authority, your power, your possessions, none of that. And so this leads us to the other teaching we mentioned briefly earlier, that from the outside, the victim and the victor look very different. You get to know someone, you spend 10, 20, 30 minutes around them, it's usually pretty clear what stage of the journey they're in. That's not so true with the victor and the vehicle. From the outside, the victor and the vehicle look almost identical. The difference is on the inside. It's how they relate to the world around them, how they connect to the space. That's the vehicle. And so I want to emphasize that just because you're a vehicle doesn't mean you're a master of everything. No, not at all. You're still learning and growing. It's just that you have learned enough of the victor skill set to graduate and shift your focus. And so vehicles still have jobs. They still have health insurance. They still call plumbers when their sink breaks, right? They still call lawyers to plan their estate. None of that changes. But again, the difference is on the inside. So one last thing I want to mention, and then I'm going to give you the resolution. I'm going to reconcile this 100% and show you how they can play nice together. It's this, that as we journey through these stages of consciousness, we often run into residue of the lower consciousness. So even if you're a high-level victor or vehicle, you will have circumstances in life that drag you down, even to be a victim. There will be times you feel shame and guilt and fear and all those things. That's not wrong. You're not failing. That's just running into a bump, stepping into a puddle. And as victors and vehicles, we do need to use the metaphysical tools to clear off the residue. Maybe you start with therapy, get into energy healing, mind power, hypnosis. If you want to go really deep, you can get into something like my Awakening Dynamic System, which has all of these things and a lot more. But we get over things. You lose someone, you will be in pain, you will cry. And so as the victor, and especially as the vehicle, please do not judge yourself as bad or wrong or missing out or not getting it if you temporarily get dragged down by life. That's part of the game. Here's the question I want you to ask. Don't just ask, do I ever get dragged into lower consciousness? Pretty much all vehicles do. Even stories about our great masters getting dragged down temporarily into lower consciousness. Instead, ask this question. How long am I staying in the lower consciousness before my awareness turns on and I see what's happening? So if you get drawn into the myth, drawn into the drama, the pain, the grief, the greed, the fear, whatever it is, that's okay. That happens to every human, no matter how high their consciousness. In my experience, at least. Ask, how long is it before I turn on the awareness and realize, wow, I'm playing the victim. I'm running tapes I got from my mother, my father, my ancestors, whatever. Does that make sense? So just expect you will get dragged down, but over time, it will happen less and less, and you will stay there for shorter and shorter periods. Here's how it goes. As the vehicle, you will have stuff happen. If you have parents, grandparents, most likely you will lose them at some point. If you have pets, most likely you will outlive them and you will grieve them. You will probably lose money. You may get fired from your job. You could lose your home. In extreme cases, you could even become homeless. I think that's very rare. Very, very rare. But all these things could happen. It's a matter of how long is it before you break free of the drama and realize, hey, I can reframe this. I can be okay no matter what. I can still trust the divine, stay connected to the space around me, drawing strength and power so I can be okay on the inside no matter what is happening on the outside. That's what it's about. So now I'm going to give you what I promised you. I'm going to reconcile the idea of the victor being powerful, strong, taking responsibility with the vehicle, which is about letting go, allowing. And as I sit here recording this video in 2023, I'm not aware of anyone else that has ever done this. Maybe it's novel. I don't know everyone. Of course not. To my knowledge, it is. So if you like this video, if you want to see more, hit like, click subscribe. If you want to learn a little more about me, maybe join one of my live events, try one of my programs, check out the links in the description below. Okay, so let's do it. How do we reconcile the teachings of the victor? That you're powerful, that you're the source of your life, that your actions create your destiny, versus the vehicle, which says to let go, to surrender, to be a vessel for a higher power. They seem on the surface to be completely contradictory, right? It's kind of like quantum physics and relativity. They do not play well together. They are not compatible. So here's the resolution. You want to be 100% accountable and be the source of your life in terms of your process. So in terms of the actions you take every day, the things you do, the decisions you make them from the place that I am the center of my life and that I am the source of it, and that I must be accountable to every single thing that happens in my life in terms of the process, the action you're taking. If this were sports, the process would be showing up to the game and playing your best. That's what the process is. On the flip side, the vehicle teaching that we surrender, that we let go, that we allow, that we become a vessel, we surrender to the result of that process. Does that make sense? So if you're going to go play basketball with your buddies, your process that you be accountable for is you show up on time, you play as hard as you can, you play by the rules, etc., right? The only thing we can control, if there's anything we can control in our lives, is our process, what we choose to do. On the flip side, if you go to play basketball with your buddies, surrender the result. Because no matter how good you are, no matter how hard you play, you might lose. There are factors and things in this universe bigger than one person. And having grown up playing sports, I experienced this. There were times I went and me and my team played our absolute best and we still lost. So we are accountable to our process. We surrender the result. I'll say that again because this is a key to life. Be 100% accountable to apply the best process you can. 100% surrendered in the result it brings or where it takes you. As a professional energy healing worker, I try to do this with all my clients. I will bring you the absolute best process I can. I will be there on time. I will be prepared. I will be knowledgeable and skilled, etc., etc. I will give you my absolute best effort to help you move forward, to heal, to release blocks and traumas, to raise your consciousness, yes. But the result of the session, what happens in your life, I must surrender that. That's not under anybody's power to control. Whether you heal instantly or you don't, I can't control that, neither can you. We surrender the result. And it's pretty simple. You'll find you will get better results in life. Things will kind of go your way more when you are more accountable to your process and more surrendered in the result. And so you can see this in terms of the 3 stages of consciousness. Victims are not accountable to their process. That is the trap of the victim under responsibility. Victors have the exact opposite problem. A good victor learns how to be accountable to their process, give it their best shot. But the trap of the victor is over responsibility, holding yourself accountable for the result of your process. That's very frustrating because it is not within your power. If you can go and day trade on the market, you can apply the best process, make the best trades, do everything right, and still have the market turn against you. On the flip side, you can do everything wrong and still make money. Same thing with dating. If you go on a date, you can do everything right. You can be dressed well, you can be clean, articulate, funny, all these things, and it still might not click. Other times you do everything wrong. You show up wearing a barrel, you're in a bad mood, you didn't shave, right? And you totally click with this person and you fall in love. So again, it's really simple in theory. Be as accountable as you can, close to 100% to your process, the action you take. Give everything in life your best effort, but then completely surrender the result and where it takes you. This is the secret to higher consciousness. This is one of the ways we advance as a vehicle. That's all I got to say for right now. We got one more video on our series on consciousness. And again, if you enjoy it, hit like, hit subscribe, please share with people. I really think these teachings need to get out there to the world. And if you can share this with just 2 or 3 or 4 people, that could make a huge difference in their life. This is Brent Michael Phillips signing off for now, and we will see you very soon for the last and final video in this series. Until then, please take care and namaste.